Meeples podcast. Here are your hosts, Chris and Angie.
On today's show, we're going to talk about the games we are looking forward to playing in 2023. I'm going to tell you all about Euro games, and Angie says she's got another quiz for me. Well, I got her so frustrated in the last episode, she walked out of the room. I think I'm going to get them all right again this week. You should keep listening and find out. Hello, everybody. This is Chasing Meeples, and I am your host, Chris, along with my beautiful co-host.
Hello, I'm Angie.
And Angie, it is, well, we're recording this on January 1st, 2023. We made it to 2023. Pretty awesome, huh?
That's awesome. It is awesome. Yes, we made it. Of course we did.
I know.
Of course we did.
2022 wasn't that bad of a year. I don't think it was, at least.
No. Each year it's getting a little better. It's getting a little better.
A little better every year.
Mm-hmm. We started our podcast last year, so what can we say? You know, it's a good year.
Going forward,
It's
moving
going
on up.
higher.
All right. I'm hoping everybody listening to this had a fantastic Christmas holiday and a wonderful New Year's. We actually had a pretty good one.
It went really well. Christmas, we had a lot of fun. Christmas Eve, we had a lot of fun. My dad became a official Scottish Lord. It will go to his head.
No, it won't.
No. I think he'll get a kick out of the paperwork, though.
Yeah.
We played some good games, some not so good games. And, we had a little other excitement. We were on TV.
Well, we were on YouTube.
Well, is it YouTube?
It can be. It's on our TV,
I guess
right?
it can be on the TV.
I'm glad you're talking about that because I wanted to bring that up. So if anybody listening to this follows the Dice Tower, Angie and I submitted a, what would you call it? We contributed to
Favorite Game Friday.
And the subject was favorite IPs and games that we enjoy with those IPs on them. So, of course, I picked Marvel Dice Throne because, well, it's Dice Throne.
Of course. But we try to bring our brand of entertainment to the segment, and we had a hard time keeping it short.
Yeah, it ended up being like a minute, 13 seconds.
It's only supposed to be like about a 30-second clip, but I think when you have two people, that's not realistic.
So you think 30 seconds?
I think it's 30
person?
seconds per person would be more realistic, but hopefully we do this again. We can keep it down to, 40 seconds.
We're going to do it. We're going to do it again this week. So
don't stretch it. Maybe, what if it doesn't? We don't want people holding to this hope and then they get on YouTube on Friday and they're looking at the Dice Tower and we're not there. We don't want to give anybody some false hope.
Oh,
but if we load it up, we'll let everybody know on Instagram and Facebook to watch for us.
I'm going to say it right now. So we are recording this January 1st. We have released this podcast on January 4th, which is a Wednesday. And I am saying this. If you turn on Favorite Game Friday on January 6th, you're going to see our awesome faces on that video talking about our New Year's gaming resolutions. And boy, let me tell you, I don't want to, give anybody a cliffhanger out there. It's going to rock.
It's going to knock your socks off. Yeah, it will.
As long as your socks are not wet.
Oh, with all the snow being drug into the house, I feel like I do have wet socks right now. And it's not on the floor. It's like my boot. My boot gets wet and then my sock gets wet. But you know what? This is really strange. It is strange. I always feel like one foot's wet and it's not. I must have like neuropathy or something. I don't know what it would be, but I always feel like one foot is wet.
That's a whole other podcast. That's like a whole other podcast. Nobody wants to hear about neuropathy.
I don't know what it is. I might have to call in. I have to find a podiatry podcast and call in and ask.
Yeah. Why?
1 foot. 1 foot always feels wet.
Always feels wet.
Why?
Okay, that's weird. All right.
Hey.
So you mentioned that we played some good games and we played some not so good games.
Yes.
I am looking at you right now, and I really hope that the not so good game that you are thinking of happens to be one that I really enjoyed.
I don't think you really enjoyed
I
it.
really enjoyed that game. I don't think you understand how much I enjoyed that game. It's not
I
like
don't.
dice thrown level of, enjoyment.
Is it heat enjoyment?
Well, Heat was good.
Oh, you enjoyed 3,000 Scoundrels more than Heat?
I didn't say that, but yeah, a little bit.
Really?
Like, I thought Heat was good. And I'm not saying it's a bad game because I want to play Heat again, right? I think by the time when we played Heat, I was just really tired. I mean, we played games.
We played a lot of games.
A lot of games in the last 2 days, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think Heat, when we played it, it was a little late at night.
It was.
We were learning it. Not that the rules are hard, but
I kept spinning out.
you kept forgetting how to count to a corner. Yeah, I really enjoyed 3,000 Scoundrels.
I thought it was a waste of time. And that's the best way to describe it, is I felt it was a waste of time. I don't think even games that I didn't like, I don't think I ever walked away and went, huh. I could walk away and go, I actively, maybe not have liked it, but I didn't feel like I just wasted my time. Literally, I felt like I wasted precious gaming time.
Now that
I'm
is
like, well, you know
very
what?
harsh.
I'm thinking that's an hour I'll never get back. That's an hour that we could have been playing something else.
Wow. That is really harsh.
I went into 3,000 Scoundrels expecting more. And I think that kind of, even though I didn't hear rave reviews about it, I thought it was an interesting premise, just the old Western and stuff like that. So and when you talk about the mechanics and the stealing the safe, it sounds really interesting. I think there was something missing. I can't put my finger on it because I'm not a game designer. I mean, maybe an expansion would help. But I'd overstayed its welcome.
Wow. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Well, don't be sorry. I mean,
I'm sorry. You seem hurt and you didn't design the game. That's like when somebody tells me their shirts are ugly. I really, at this point in my life, working where I have as long as I have, I look at them and I just say, I didn't design it.
Yeah, well, I didn't design that game
So
either.
that's it. So don't feel so bad. I see this hurt in your eyes. I see hurt.
Well, there's
sadness.
hurt. Do you know why there's hurt?
Why is there hurt?
Because you're the only gaming partner I have. And I'm not going to have you play a game that you consider a waste of time.
All right, everybody. It is quiz time. Ooh, are you ready for this, Chris?
I'm always ready for quiz.
This was difficult for me because I had an idea. I really had this idea of what I wanted to do. And it turned out to be a little bit more difficult. So I finagled the questions. I believe at first I was really worried that they were going to be too difficult. But then after last week, of the way you did last week, then I thought, I ain't worried about it. I ain't worried about it. I don't care how hard they are.
You mean how I got you so frustrated because I had the answers to every one of your quiz questions?
Yes.
And
No, you didn't have them all.
So okay, I missed one.
Or two.
Santa versus
You know what? It's going to start today. I'm going to start keeping track. So last week doesn't even count.
Oh, no. They all count.
Let's start with this one. In 2004, we're back to a romantic comedy starring pop icon Mandy Moore. Played Anna Foster, the president's daughter. They go on a trip to Prague. Anna is upset with her overprotective father because he broke a promise. So she decides to give her security detail the slip during a concert and runs off with a handsome young man. unbeknownst to her, he is a Secret Service agent assigned to protect her.
That's so stupid. Anyway.
It's a 2004 romantic comedy.
Yeah, okay.
The movie is called Chasing. I try to give you enough build up so you could kind of get an idea why this.
Chasing the President's Daughter.
No? Is that your answer?
Sure, why not?
Okay, you're wrong. It's Chasing Liberty.
Oh,
You know how the Secret Service always give everybody a nickname?
Yeah.
Her nickname was Liberty.
Oh, wow.
So they had to chase her around.
Wow.
Okay.
Sounds like how many awards did that win?
I don't know.
None.
I don't know.
None.
All right. We're going back to 2001. A movie, Mandy Moore. She played Lana Thomas.
I don't even know who Mandy Moore is.
You don't know who the pop icon Mandy?
The pop
She was a pop icon.
Mandy Moore.
She was one of those little.
Tell me one song.
I don't know.
Okay, all right. Sure.
She's like one of those sweet.
So
best
iconic.
Friend, or not in this movie though.
She was so iconic. I don't even know a song.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Keep going.
In this 2001 movie, she played the mean girl arch nemesis to Mia Thermopolis, who was played by Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway in this movie discovers that she is a princess. What is the name of this movie?
Hey, everybody. I just discovered I'm a princess.
No, it's called Princess Diaries.
Oh, geez.
All right. This is where it's going to, okay.
Well, this is where it's going to get.
Yeah, that's good.
This is where it's going to get good. Okay. Can't wait.
In 2004, Princess Diaries 2.
Jeez.
In 2004, the Princess Diaries 2 Royal Engagement. Princess Mia is setting into her new life in Genovia. But she soon discovers that she has to marry within 30 days so she can become queen.
Of Genovia.
Yes.
Yeah.
A young Lord Nicholas Devereux is the royal suitor trying to win her heart and hand. Who is the actor that plays Nicholas Devereux?
What year is this?
I don't feel bad for you not getting these questions.
I don't care.
2004.
2004. It's going to be Zac Efron.
No, but that's a good guess.
Okay.
Chris Pine.
Oh, he's kind of cool.
Okay. Next question. We'll put a big fat 0 by this one. Chris Pine stars as a young, brash starship captain in this sci-fi movie based on a television series of the same name. What is the movie?
Well, that's Star Trek.
All right. There's plenty of Star Trek games. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
Star Trek. Starship Tactical Combat Simulation is the oldest game on the list.
On BGG.
BGG. So when you search Star Trek, the list that comes up, that is the oldest game. What year did it come out?
I'm going to say 1969.
Okay, the game is not that old. It's 1983.
No, well, okay, fine. I went back. I mean, I was like going back down.
Okay. In 2012, a special Star Trek edition of a popular hobby board game was released. What is it?
Farkle.
Is that your answer?
Sure.
You're not even going to think about this one?
It's Catan.
Okay, so you are willing to take a 0 at that? Just to be some sort of smarty pants.
Yeah. Was I right though?
Yes, you're right.
Okay, good.
You're right. All right. Star Trek Catan is ranked 1,270 on BGG.
Mm-hmm.
Star Trek the Dice Game. Is it higher or lower than 1,270?
Higher.
Lower. It's 5,269.
Okay.
Is Star Trek the Deck Building Game higher or lower?
Lower.
It's higher. It's 3157. No, 3757. See? Star Trek has got all these different kinds of game. They got deck building, they got the dice game, they have the board game, they have a Catan game. But if you were going to make a Star Trek game, what type of game would it be? And describe it. This is going to be open. If I really like your answer, it'll be worth a lot. I could see no thought being put into this whatsoever.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Okay, so if I were to make a Star Trek game,
You're going to make a Star Trek game.
it would be a game where not only do you travel through space, you go on to planets, and you...
Well, you're really not a game designer, are you?
No, okay. You got to set it up.
No, what kind of game would you make if what kind of stuff?
You want a boring answer like mechanisms? Okay.
Yeah.
It would be a game.
It would be a worker placement game.
Well, that's a better answer.
It would be a Euro style worker placement game that also has pick up and deliver elements. And
What would you pick up and
what would I pick up and deliver? Good question. I would pick up people that are in distress. So you could do missions and you would take the people, and you could do a mechanism in there where...
Would it be a campaign game?
It could be.
Would there be elements of a roll and write game?
It could be. It could be. So like my thought would be is you could do worker placement and you could do missions. Okay, so like you rescue somebody. So let's say, and you'd have a certain amount of rounds to do it. So the people on, like, let's say there were 6 people on this spaceship. For every round that you don't defeat the enemy, let's say a la dice thrown battle, right? You change the face of the die from a 6 to a 5. Now there's 1 person dead. 4, 3, 2.
Well, there you go.
And yep.
There you go. I'm going to give you 6 points for that.
Okay.
So a little slow start to it, but I see the wheels were turning after a while, and I appreciate that.
And if there are any game designers out there that are willing to help me flesh that out, contact us at chasingmeeples@yahoo.com. I would be more than happy to help finish that game.
Funny. All right. You ended up with, I think, 8 points on that. I think you ended up with 8 points on that.
8 points, that's not bad.
Not bad.
All right, I'll take it. A couple episodes ago, I talked a little bit about worker placement. And in that description of worker placement, I mentioned Euro games. And I figured now would be the time for me to discuss or explain what a Euro game is.
It's time to take a seat. It's time for Board Game 101.
Hey there, my fellow board game enthusiasts. So you might be wondering what the heck a Euro game is, right? I get it. These games can be a little intimidating at first. Well, with their beige boxes and wooden cubes. But trust me, there's so much more than that. In fact, I like to think of wooden cubes as the lifeblood of Euro games. They represent everything from resources to armies. And without them, where would we be? So go ahead and embrace your love of cubes and embrace the beige. A Euro game is a type of board game that typically has a high level of strategy and depth. They're known for their intricate mechanics, high replay value, and colorful artwork. These games are about efficiency and careful planning. You'll have a limited number of actions to take on your turn, and you'll have to decide which ones will give you the biggest payoff in the long run. So imagine yourself sitting around a table with your friends, surrounded by a pile of colorful game pieces and intricately illustrated cards. You might be building a medieval town, running a vineyard, or managing a farm. The possibilities are endless, and each theme adds its own unique flavor to the gameplay. Now let's talk about some of the different mechanics you might find in a Euro game. There are a ton of different ones to choose from, and each one adds its own unique twist to the gameplay. For example, in an area control game like Catan, players are competing for control over certain areas on the board by placing their game pieces or settlements on the board. The player with the most settlements in a particular area at the end of the game scores the most points. Or in a tile placement game like the Castles of Burgundy, players are tasked with building their own personal game board using tiles they acquire. Players must carefully plan out the placement of their tiles to score the most points. And in a worker placement game like Agricola, players take turns placing their game pieces, or workers, into different action spaces on the board to perform different actions. Players must carefully consider which actions will be the most beneficial for them and use their workers wisely to achieve the best outcome. These are just a few examples of the many mechanics you might find in a Euro game. Others include resource management, deck building, and set collection. No matter what mechanic a game uses, the goal is usually to use your resources and actions efficiently to achieve the best outcome. Now, there is one concept I'd like to talk a little bit about, and that is the concept of point salad. Now, this is a term that you will often hear that refers to the idea that Euro games often have multiple ways to score points, resulting in a final score that is hard to decipher. While it's true that some Euro games do have multiple scoring methods, this can actually add an extra layer of strategy to the game. Players must carefully consider which scoring method will be the most beneficial for them and plan accordingly. Designer Stefan Feld is particularly known for his use of multiple scoring methods in his games such as The Castle of Burgundy and Trajan. So don't be intimidated by the beige boxes and the wooden cubes. Give Euro games a chance. I promise you won't be disappointed. These games offer a level of depth and strategy that you just won't find in other types of games. And if you find a Euro game that you really enjoy, there's a good chance that it has expansions or additional content that can be added to the base game to add more variety and replay value. These expansions often introduce new mechanics, themes, or game pieces to the base game, giving players even more to explore and enjoy. So don't be afraid to embrace your inner strategist and give Euro games a try. You might just find yourself joining the ranks of devoted Euro game enthusiasts, attending conventions, and participating in online communities to share your love of these deep, strategic games. And who knows, maybe one day you'll even be designing your own Euro games. Happy gaming. Embrace the beige.
All right, everybody. We are going to talk about the games we are looking forward to in 2023. Cue the music, Chris.
Okay.
All righty. Anyway, the first game I am looking forward to is Beer and Bread. It is a 2-player game by Scott Alms. You might recognize that name from the Tiny Epic series. In Beer and Bread, the players are competing villages that face off in the tradition of brewing beer and baking bread. You will have to balance your liquid versus baked goods because at the end of the game, you will score whichever one you have the least of. Beer and Bread should be released in Q1 of 2023. I recently watched a how to play or playthrough of it, and what I hadn't realized before is the drafting. It has drafting at the beginner, and that the player cards actually have 3, it's not even dual purpose cards, but they are tri-purpose cards. So that really intrigued me. So I'm looking forward to it more now that I actually watched a playthrough and not just read about it.
So one of the games that I'm looking forward to playing this year, or in 2023, I'm not sure when it's going to be released. I would assume there's going to be a Kickstarter on this. It is called Nova Roma, and it is another game by Stan Kordonski.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems it takes place in ancient Rome. And the best that I can gather from it is it's going to be a city building game with some economic elements and some racing elements in it. So it says it's from the designer, the description on BGG says it's a city building, hippodrome, racing, estate management, competitive Euro game featuring unique pattern building, grid activation, and you earn VP. And obviously, player with the most VPs at the end of the game is the winner. So I don't know much about it, but seems really neat. And there hasn't been a game that Stan has designed that I haven't liked yet. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's one of the things you do look for, even when you're looking at Kickstarters. The company behind it, the publishers, the designers, what have they have done before? Do they have a good track record? So I'm looking forward to that too. I'd really be interested in that.
Mm-hmm.
The next game that I'm very interested in is a game by Frank West. It is called Race to the Raft. It is a 1 to 4 player game that is set in the Isle of Cats. So what happens to the cats that did not get rescued? They did not make the boat. These are the cats. It is a cooperative game in which you are a disoriented cat trying to make its way through a smoke-filled island to the safety of the raft using path building and tile placement. This is a very interesting game and kind of hard. It is not a campaign game, a scenario-based game. In the example that I had recently saw, these two cats were like best friends and they did not want to be separated. So you could not move them 5 tiles away from each other. So as you're trying to build this path to the raft, these two cats could not move more than 5 spaces apart. So that was making that more difficult. But as you lay part of a path down for the cats, you have to add fire to the island. So now you're balancing where am I going to move with the path, and where you lay the fire down was very interesting. The other thing about it is a limited communication game. So you can, being cooperative, normally you want to talk back and forth. Really the most talking you can do is you can tell your teammate, well, I have a lot of purple to make a path. Do you want me to do this? So it's pretty limited. You can't say specifically how much you have and what you all have on your cards. So I don't think the game is going to be easy. It's not completely abstract because I do see the theme in it. But looking at it, when he was describing it, I'm watching plays of it, I'm thinking, this is not a simple game. And not that Isle of Cats isn't simple, but I have a feeling this is going to be really a little bit more AP inducing, to tell you the truth. So that is Race to the Raft by Frank West.
One game that I'm looking forward to checking out this year, hopefully I get a chance to, is a game that I missed out on the Kickstarter because I dragged my feet and then completely forgot about it. And I guess I'll have to live with that if I don't ever get to play it. But that game is Age of Comics, The Golden Years.
Oh, yeah.
So that game is a worker placement game that basically takes place during the Golden Age of Comics. Golden Age of Comics was from 1938 to 1954. And as of being a former comic book collector who has comics collecting dust in his attic, the theme really seems interesting. So the game Lasts about 5 rounds. And essentially, the objective of the game is to accumulate the highest number of fans, making money by publishing comics, and creating the best portfolio of comic books. So there's different genres, and you can specialize in certain genres. It just seems really cool. It just seems really cool.
That game, so with that game, you kept saying how much you like that theme and that resonates with you.
Mm-hmm.
That absolutely does nothing for me, but I did see a playthrough of it. And I have to say, if you can find a playthrough, they are the best things to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said, I had no interest in this game until I saw this playthrough and I saw the mechanisms being used, the gameplay. It gave me a little bit of a Pret-a-Porter vibe. And I'm really excited about this game.
Yeah.
I really do want to play this game. Like I said, for me, it was the theme was doing nothing for me. And it wasn't until I saw the gameplay that I thought, I will like this game.
Now, some of the early thoughts on this game are that it's a solid worker placement game, and the theme really shines through, and it just looks very thematic, right? I guess it can be a very cutthroat game. That at 2 players, there isn't that much conflict. You could play the game without having conflict.
You're not really stepping on each other's toes.
If you don't want to, you don't have to, right? At a higher player count, like at 4 players, it is straight up brutal.
Really?
That's like literally what they're saying.
Okay.
That's what they say on the BGGs. So, but yeah, I mean, it's rated a 7.9 on BGG.
That's
so
pretty good.
That is good.
What's the weight?
It's only got a complexity rating of 2.43 out of 5.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I mean, that doesn't, sound too heavy, but now the game's not out yet. So these are just people that had their early plays. These are people who had maybe demoed it. They're the people that got early review copies and stuff. So
yeah, maybe.
The final game on my anticipated list is My Shelfie. It's a new game by Phil Walker Harding. In My Shelfie, you arrive home with your new bookshelf and you must start filling it with your books, games, and favorite things in a tile placement strategy game. And if someone's going to make a game about arranging knickknacks, it's going to be Phil Walker Harding that can make it compelling. It's really interesting. The bookshelves look like, if you've ever played Connect 4, it's that tall stack like the Connect 4. That is your shelf, and you have to slide your tiles down there to create, everybody gets a card, and you have to create a certain pattern. And what's really interesting is how you take the tiles from the board. You have to have, it's really interesting how you take the tiles from the board. They have to have open sides, so you can't just pick anything. So there's only certain tiles that will be available to be picked. And so it's how you placing them in the shelves to get to the right configuration. So I think it looks very interesting. I'm really compelled by anything made by Phil Walker Harding. So that is the last game that I'm anticipating.
So another game I'm really excited about, and this one I did back it through Hasbro's Pulse, and that is the Dungeons and Dragons, the Yawning Portal game.
Ah, yes.
So Angie, if I say the Yawning Portal, what does that mean to you?
It sounds like the starting pub that you would find a group of adventurers.
Yes. So the Yawning Portal is a very famous pub, bar, whatever you want to call it, in the fantasy realm of the Forgotten Realms, right? In this game, you play a part of the tavern staff, and you get to feed adventurers based on what they order, and you get a bonus for completing the order. It seems interesting. I don't know.
I think it's a different way to do the fantasy.
Yeah.
To do those characters, something a little bit more lighthearted, but you still have that, like you said, the D&D or the fantasy theme.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that sounds interesting. Definitely when I heard that when we were watching the crowd surfing, I think it was on crowd surfing we saw it. Yeah, that's where I saw it, and I thought that was very interesting, and I think I even said something to you about you should back that.
Yeah. So yeah, The Yawning Portal, published by Avalon Hill, is a game I'm looking forward to.
And now it's time for some first impressions.
One thing we're tossing around is reviews. So if you listen to any of our past episodes, we noticed we had like a preview of a game that we were going to play, kind of talked about it. Mm-hmm. And then we went in later on in the month. We're going to try to do 2 episodes a month. Then we did our actual full review of the game. I think that was kind of interesting, and I would like to do that. So at this point in time, Angie and I want to talk about a game that we got for Christmas. It was on her Christmas wish list, and it was Wayfarers, it is Wayfarers of the South Tigris. Mm-hmm. Game designed by Shem Phillips. Mm-hmm. And it seems like a good game. Now, full disclosure, we've played the game once, and I thought it was good. First impressions, good game. A lot to take in at first, but I don't want to talk about too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Before we get a couple more plays under our belt. I think it has the ability to be very AP inducing, and watching the faces you were making while playing the game. That doesn't
mean I had AP. I think I was very good with that game. I don't think I had too many turns that I sat there and...
No,
but I do think about it. It's a first game.
I don't want to say AP then. Brain burning.
Yeah.
It can be brain burning.
Yeah, because you have a lot to think about. There are a lot of things you can do, and that's the way it is with worker placement games. It's very intense.
What I would like to do is get a couple plays of that and then go revisit Paladins.
Really?
Because I think this game for me might be a Paladins killer. Out of all the West Kingdom games, I think Architects is my favorite. But I think this one might be a Paladins killer for me.
Architects is definitely lighter than Paladins.
Mm-hmm. If I were to compare this to the West Kingdom games, I think just first impression, and I will revisit this when we talk about our full review. I think this game is comparable to Viscounts.
Really?
Yep. I think in the weight.
Oh. Well, I think the weight is more of a Paladins.
No,
Paladins definitely.
I think Viscounts.
I mean, if you look on BGG, this is rated like a 3.8 or something.
Mm-hmm. For complexity?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, just
we'll talk about that. Full review. We'll have.
Yeah, just
we'll deep dive into it.
We will take a deep dive. There you go. That's a good way to put it.
Deep dive into it.
So
review.
Something to look forward to. If this is a game that you would like to check out, make sure you check out our next episode.
Yeah, listen to us.
Please.
Please.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for giving us your time. We really appreciate it. Don't forget to check us out on Favorite Game Friday, January 6th, where we'll be talking about our New Year's gaming resolutions.
Yeah, so if anybody has a New Year's gaming resolution of their own, drop us a line. Go on Instagram, Facebook. Maybe I'll do a post about that, asking everybody what their New Year's gaming resolution is, and we can chit-chat.
Yeah, 100%. We would love to hear from you guys. Thank you so much for some of the messages that you have been sending us. Also, hey, we should probably bring this out that our contest winner did contact us.
Yes.
And we will be sending them their game very soon.
Yep, very soon. We're going to get it out in the mail.
So I want everybody to have a wonderful 2023. And we will see you on Favorite Game Friday.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.